I'll tell you a secret. I know all the latest political, social, and economic trends in Russia. And I'm about to tell you. Now, these days, I go through hundreds of news pieces every single day. That's basically all I do. I study Russia under microscope. After seeing so many news, they become they start falling into different groups, different news on the same developments. And I call such groups the trends. Monitoring the news and comparing them from, quite a long period over many months, I start seeing big pictures. Well, scientifically speaking, it's called synthesis, the combination of components or elements to form a connected whole. Today, I'd like to share my findings about what's happening in Russia in the fall of 2024. I'll show you the big picture. Let's dive into the trends. Howdy, howdy, friends. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is told by the unusual Russian. As usual, I give you only common sense, reason, logic, never BS, never propaganda, never lies. And I also give you some emotions because, hey, I'm a human being after all. Now, today I have three parts of this live stream. The first is the message, then the live stream chat, and we finish with a prayer as usual. And by the way, I want to try something different this time, this new format, and if you like it, I'll make it regular. Say, I'll release it once every quarter. And by the way, before I start, I'm asking you to give me a credit. Press the like button, just acting on faith in me. If you don't like what you will hear, what I will say, you can always unlike it later. Press the like button now. So, I have done quite a bit of research about the changes happening in Russia. I do it from morning till night. Like I said, this is what I do, obviously, and I do it well. And I consider myself a scholar of Russia. Yes, a scholar of Russia, because I study the changes, I study the country, I study everything that is happening in the country, okay? Well, I have probably even more, couple bonus, quite a few trends, basically what I found lately, I've catalogized, and that's what I'm going to give to you, the trends. This is what's currently happening in Russia. Number one, the war on migrant workers. It all started in Moscow on March 22nd. One of the worst terrorist attacks in Russia, Crocus City Hall. The war on migrants started quite some time ago, but the acute phase started about 6 months ago. The attackers turned out to be foreigners from the Central Asian countries, from the former USSR. Russian society became outraged by that attack, and that rage was channeled by the propaganda. Hey, they're very skilled. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to channel anger, rage, anything into the direction they need, okay? So they channeled this rage to the migrant workers. It seemed like Russian government declared war on migrant workers, and Russian people have followed the suit. One of the drivers behind the war is Russia's head of investigative committee. That's the equivalent of attorney general. The name is Alexander Bastrykin. And he has been sharply criticizing various government agencies for being too lenient with the migrant workers. He even called Russian parliament the House of the Dumb. I love that. The House of the Dumb. Государственная дура. That's what he said in Russian. For, he called it that way for creating soft migrant legislation. The parliament has heard, Bastrikin, and they recently started creating laws that making lives of immigrants much more difficult. The latest law, I'm just going to give you the latest one a couple weeks ago. The migrant workers now cannot bring their families to Russia along with them any longer. Now, why is this happening? Easy. People's attention. Russian government wants to take people's attention and to focus it somewhere. Because there's plenty of rage inside of Russian people. The war, the decline in wages, the plummeting living standards, skyrocketing prices, loved ones fighting in Ukraine, and some are get killed. That rage, that anger, it builds up. And if left there, it might build up so much that eventually it will blow up, just like it did in August of 1991. And the USSR fell in 3 days. So, what does the government do? Easy. It takes that anger and finds someone to take it on. And it's very easy to blame migrant workers for the decline of Russia. Of course, it's them. It's these poor people from the villages, mountainous villages of Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, who came and deliberately made lives of Russian citizens intolerable. They're the ones, they're the reason that Russians earn so much less. They're the reason that, there's so many more economic trouble. Of course, it's the migrant workers, okay? They are the easiest target. They do not fight back. So what is the long-term result? Not good. The migrant workers and foreigners in general will leave Russia and go someplace else to work. Now in Uzbekistan, I know for sure that a very popular destination is Dubai. It's very popular among younger Uzbeks. Instead of learning Russian, they learn English, and by the age of 20, they're off to Dubai to make pretty penny. Their choice in the past was only Russia. Once the migrant workers leave Russia, the thing is, the problem, that will not disappear. Russian people will not feel less anger. It's not going to go down. Because it's not migrants who created the problems. It's not migrants who created anger, okay? They're not the reason. And even bigger problem is xenophobia and nationalism. Because once the migrant workers leave, and that's going to happen sooner or later, and I think rather sooner, then Russian population does not consist of Russian people entirely, okay? It's multinational. There are many Muslim people who live in Russia, Russian citizens. And, I want you to watch something. I showed you this video in one of my previous live streams, but check out what happened in Moscow recently. And it happens a lot. And once the migrants will be gone, this will start happening to more and more Russians.
Мы не таджики.
A Russian woman is attacking
Мы не
a Russian
поддерживаем.
citizen, Muslim, who came from the
Сперва
Caucasus.
изучите наш устав для этого. У нас в Российской Федерации свобода религии, свобода выбора.
Вы не можете здесь вести себя, как вам нравится.
Хорошо, я вас
Потому что
услышу.
ваши мужчины
Я вас
начинают
услышу.
избивать наших женщин. Понимаете?
Да, хорошо,
Они
я
себя
понимаю.
неправильно ведут.
Да, все понимаю.
Вы очень нагло себя ведете.
Вы какого черта меня трогаете? Что вы делаете? Успокойтесь. Сейчас... Какая спасать дверь? Отъезжай, блядь!
Телефон потеряешь.
Иди отсюда! Какого черта нападаешь на
Хамите
меня?
нам, хамите.
Кому я хамила? Я вам
Себя
сказала.
как хотите, вам сказали. Нам не нравится, что вы себя так ведете.
Какая вам разница
Не
вообще?
есть разница. Это моя страна. Это моя страна. Это моя страна. А не ваша. А вы здесь себя ведете, как вам нравится. Ваши мужчины преступники.
Да, хорошо. Расскажите это мужчинам.
Простите меня, вас терпеть.
That Slavic-looking woman is completely wrong. It's not their country. It's the country of all Russian citizens, including that Muslim lady wearing hijab. She is free to wear whatever she wants to, and she's free to have any religion she wants to. But you clearly saw the conflict, and that's just... This war on migrants will spread throughout Russia, and it will corrupt Russian society even more. So the war on the migrant workers is definitely the current current trend happening in the fall of 2024. So trend number 2, economic decline. I talk of the Russian economy decline a lot. Economic sanctions, lack of investments, lack of workers, lack of export revenues, decline of export revenues, international trade decline, problems inside Russia, bubbles grow in real estate, banking, you name it. There are many reasons for this economic decline. Again, I won't talk much. Will not talk much about it right now because I very often talk about it in details in my live streams. I have regular economic live streams about it. It's happening, and it's very noticeable now. It makes people depressed. Overall mood is down, dark, because people don't see any hope. They don't see anything changes or improving. In the 90s, we also were going through a very hard time economically. But it was tough, but at the same time, we saw the light at the end of the tunnel. We knew that we were coming from the communist country and we were just learning new ways. We knew there was going to be hope, and our lives did become better and better every single day. Not now. People know that Russia is doomed economically for a very long time. And if you're in Russia, you can feel it. How do I know? I've talked to quite a few Russians recently. And that is trend number 2, the economic decline. And it will get only worse, much worse. Trend number 2, inflation, raising prices. Well, it's really a part of trend number 2, but it goes hand in hand with economic decline. It's a part of the economic decline. Inflation is one of the problems. But I just wanted to put it separately because inflation means you can buy less of the same product, or if you want to buy the same, you have to pay more. Now, if you pay, I'm sorry, higher inflation means if you have same amount of money, with higher inflation, you can buy less. And if you want to buy the same amount, you have to pay more, okay? So just increasing prices in simple language. The pensions of older people, and there are 42 million retired folks who rely on their monthly pensions, the handouts from the government, they do not increase. The prices are skyrocketing. The salaries, if you don't work in a military-industrial complex, do not increase. Well, little, perhaps. The prices are skyrocketing, and it is making people very nervous, very depressed, very sad. And again, overall mood is dark. This is going to stay. This trend is a long term. It's not gonna get any better anytime soon, only will get worse. Although it does have to be this way for generations if Russia changes its course, repent, and somehow become a part of the global community again. Inflation and economic decline, actually the easiest things to fix out of my list, okay? And I'll tell you about it at the end of the stream, how and why. So trend number 4 is militarization of the entire country. You can see it everywhere, on the streets, in the subway, in the TV programs, in schools, in hospitals. It's people wearing camouflage. It's people acting strange. It's the veterans, sometimes maimed, sometimes, with strange behavior, sometimes even people with weapons. It's everywhere. The society has been militarized. It used to be, well, I don't remember one single military man on TV, in TV programs. Now it's permanent feature. They teach children military, shooting, basic survival skills and so forth. If you're a student, you're obliged to take military courses. Just in general, everywhere. Anywhere in Russia, you run into the military, and this is a trend. The government is trying to make it fashionable. No, they're using the propaganda, but how can you make militarization fashionable? It just traumatizes people, in my opinion. Now, that was number 4. Before jumping to number 5, before I go to the next trend, I would like to give you a little update. I have some news on my demonetization. Google started showing ads in my videos, believe it or not. But I'm still demonetized. Over the last couple days, I've seen it, people writing in the comments, "Hey, Konstantin, I'm seeing ads in your streams. Congratulations. Monetization is back," but no such luck. I'm still demonetized. Still no official news from Google. I managed to get some information, not directly from Google, but through friends of friends. And it's very confusing for everyone. So there's no light at the end of the tunnel yet. So saying that, I would like to again thank everyone who's helping with good words, with wishes, with prayers, with love, with money sent through Buy Me Coffee, through Patreon, through PayPal. Thank you so very much. Your help is so much needed and very much appreciated. If I don't get back to you thanking in one way or the other, please know that I still see it and I still appreciate very much. So let's move to the trend number 5, crime rate increase. Oh boy, that's a good one. What do you think happens when people who fight an unjust war with no reasons, people who sell their souls for coin, who sign up to go and fight in Ukraine and kill Ukrainians for monetary bonus, people who killed before and were incarcerated, they were put in prisons for a long time, but they signed up and they were released and pardoned and sent to fight in Ukraine, and then they came back home. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you know what happens in Russia every day? It's exactly that. The criminals commit atrocious crimes at an increased rate, and the rate is ever increasing in the last 2 years. So these people who were serving time, the rapists, the child molesters, the murderers, the scam artists, scam artists, they come back and they rape and they molest children and they murder. They do what they know best, okay? They get arrested, they sent back to prison, but hey, does it help the victims? No. So some of them not even arrested because, hey, you know what? They are good citizens with clean criminal record, because when they're pardoned, their criminal record is purged, and they're war heroes now. I'll just give you one source. That's the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Russian Federation. That's the federal police. That's how it's called in Russia. It has come out with predictions for the criminal situation in Russia in 2024. So it turns out there's a special institute that studies crime inside the federal police, and it predicts that the situation will worsen in 2024. The number of serious crimes now reaching the highest level in the last 15 years and exceeding 152,000 serious crimes. That's according to the forecast of the Research Institute of Crime of the Ministry of Defense. Need to take a little break and take a couple sips of this wonderful English tea. Please cut me some slack, because English is my second language and I'm far from good speaking it, so I'm trying my best, folks. So, again, the Research Institute of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the federal police, has predicted the highest level in 15 years and in 2024. 152,000 serious crimes. And you know what? I am sure the number is sugar-coated, because the government always sugarcoats. I've never heard real numbers. It's always cooked, even a little bit, but cooked, okay? Usually they downplay the dangers, but they can't downplay now. Well, they're downplaying, but still it sounds terrible. And information of the crimes is everywhere now. It didn't used to be like that. If you go to Russia, you cannot dodge that information about crimes. So the trend is crime increase, and I'm afraid in the long term, this is going to be a very, very long-term trend, and it's a catastrophe, because lawlessness is coming. Number 6, demographic crisis and labor force crisis. Again, these two things, I could have made different trends, but they go in hand together. And this is a no-brainer. There are 3 reasons for this crisis. Hundreds of thousands of war victims dead in Ukraine, in the trenches, Ukrainian fields and steppes, or maimed. Number two, millions who haven't left Russia. Since the beginning of the war, over 3 million people have left. And I have witnessed that exodus. I'm part of it. I have also left. That is absolute true. The best of the best, the cream of the crop, have left Russia because we don't want to do anything with the country that Russia has become. With the atrocities and crimes it's doing in Ukraine, so we are fighting our war outside Russia. And number three, people decide to postpone childbirth due to political, economical instability. I mean, it's also a no-brainer. Just give you two examples. Restaurants and cafes complained of catastrophic shortage of staff, and this is recent information came out today. Russian catering establishments are faced with a catastrophic shortage of personnel against the background of the demographic crisis and the outflow of migrants. There's a war being waged on migrants and they're leaving, okay? Industry representatives told that Russian newspaper Kommersant, and this very respectable paper, I read it and I trust it, so you can check it there. In Kommersant, there's an article about this problem today. And the evidence number two, in Russia, the sales of children's stores have sharply decreased after the birth rate fell to the historic low. The drop in the birth rate to its lowest level since the late 90s and has hit Russian baby goods stores. In the period from January to August of 2024, the number of customers in such stores fell by 11% to 2023. And 2023 was already disastrous. So go figure. This data comes from the company called Focus Technologies, and it is also cited by the Kommersant today. So very fresh news. This is a very long-term trend, and I think it's the most serious and the worst among everything that I am telling today, okay? This thing alone can be the end of Russia in the way we know it. And there's nothing you can do to reverse that. Nothing you can do to change that quickly. Economy, not a problem. Give me power to issue economic policies in a country called Russia, and I will turn Russian economy in 2 years. And I'm not the best economist out there. That's how easy economy is. But demography, oh boy. I've heard an expert, a very respected expert in Russia, probably the best. His forecast is around 60 million Russians remaining at the end of this century. Now 146, well, supposedly, plus take or give or take, 60. From 146 to 60. This is the end of Russia as we know it. By the way, before jumping to the next trend, I would like to let you know, remind you that I make such news available to patrons. I actually, every day, I carefully select 9 news that I find important about life of Russia. And with my commentaries and analysis, I make them available to patrons at patreon.com. So if you want to be up to date of what's happening in Russia, sign up to become patron. I'm going to put the link down below after the stream. And you will learn everything you want to know about the country currently called Russia. And the last trend I'm going to give you is, well, not the last. 2 last trends. Trend number 7. Panic, chaos, and confusion among Russian leadership. And by the leadership, I mean Vladimir Putin, of course, and his close circle, the decision makers, who he consults before making decisions. Some decisions he makes himself, and some he consults with others. He has friends, he has long-time supporters, a dozen of people or so, and that's who I call the leadership. He is the czar among the leaders. What's happening in Kursk is a very good indicator of this trend, of this situation. Ukrainians declared their own special military operation and rolled into Kursk province almost unopposed. Okay, they captured lots of Russians, Russian servicemen. It's not being discussed in the Russian propaganda, by the Russian propaganda, but that's a fact. We know for the fact that there were exchanges that took place. And they basically controlled a large portion of Kursk province, and they started expanding. Currently, they control from 1,000 to 1,200 square kilometers of Russian land, and around 100 Russian settlements, give or take. So, this is a catastrophe, because Russia, in fact, was invaded by foreign armed forces. They have their boots on Russian land. And, for the past 20 years, Russian citizens, myself included, have been fed this bullshit. How Russian government was doing everything to make our lives safer, to keep Russia sovereign, to lose its sovereignty, to how they were doing wonderful job protecting from the enemies around Russia. And, Russian army was so strong because the Russian taxpayers paid so much to maintain the army. It was so strong that even an idea of someone rolling into Russia was crazy. Well, here we have it. They were talking the talk, but they're not walking the walk, okay? They're acting as if nothing has happened. They simply have forgotten about Kursk, and the war is happening in Russia. And they are confused. There are signals coming out of the Kremlin, and I see by those signals that they are in panic, and this situation is quite chaotic. I have covered in my live streams this. For example, Russia is sending signals, hidden signals to the West. We want to negotiate. We want to end this thing, but we need to save face. For example, today, the Turkish government has proposed a certain peace resolution between Ukraine and Russia, and it is very obvious Russia is behind it. The Turkish are acting because Russians have asked them to do that, okay? This is an outreach, a try by the Russian government to somehow start negotiating to end it, because they know they're not winning. They're losing quite fast, and they're panicking, okay? Vladimir Putin not acting in any way possible after Ukrainian troops rolled into Russia. Him looking shaken, him firing Gerasimov, the head of the chief of staff, in the middle of this invasion, and giving the power of Russian armed forces to the head of the secret police KGB, that is panicking. Firing the KGB guy 24 hours after he was given the power, and placing inexperienced personal bodyguards in charge of armed forces, that's a sign of panicking, and there are many more signs. So what I'm seeing is Russian leadership is cornered. It does not know what to do at this point, and it's trying to find a way out. It's in Zugzwang. How long will it last? I don't know. That is really hard to say. That's definitely going to end soon, because I heard someone saying the evil cannot go rampant for a long time, okay? But I just don't know when it will end. And the last trend, number 8, fear. Russian citizens, regular Russian people, they fear. Just to give you a latest example, an 18-year-old girl was arrested for reading Taras Shevchenko poem called The Heritage. That's the poem, and Taras Shevchenko is a Ukrainian author. He's a national, he's considered one of the best authors, a legend in Ukraine. And he was part of a school program, literature school program in the USSR when I was growing up. And I also memorized that poem, The Heritage. So her reading it out loud, she was arrested, she turned 18, and now it's the first day of her trial. She was simply reading the poem out loud. And cases like that are dime a dozen these days. And Russian people fear. I can see it in everyone. I just met tons of Russians, couple thousand of them. I was among them 3 weeks ago. I could sense that fear in the air. You know, I could smell it. It reeks. You know right away that the person fears something. The way she acts, the way he walks, the way he talks, you know, everything. So they fear. And of course, you know, a lot of people that I talk to, they decline to speak to me about anything political these days. They used to be more courageous. Some people decline to speak to me whatsoever. They fear. And it's pretty darn bad. So, Russian people are afraid to not only to speak freely in public, they're afraid to speak to strangers at all these days. As one of the Russian friends, well, former friends, summarized it for me, he said, you know what, it's better be safe than sorry these days. You know, I sketched out today when I was preparing for the stream, and I had this eight trends, and I thought, look, something is, it just looks so dark. It looks, there's, you know, I gotta mix it up with something good. Well, guess what? Haven't found anything good. Nothing. Dark, scary, sad, dark, scary. That's it. There are no good trends in Russia this fall. These trends are pretty bad for the country. Just any one of them. But there are 8 happening simultaneously. And that's where the Ukrainian victory is coming from. Not from the trenches, but from inside Russia. And looking at these trends, looking at this situation happening, we can see that victory being born. Okay? We can see it growing. And has been my message. Thank you so very much, friends. I'd like to invite everyone to join the live stream chat, which I'm going to turn on right now. We're gonna chat for about 25 minutes, and I will invite everyone to finish the live stream with a prayer. Thank you so very much for coming today. We have 4,300 people watching, and that is fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming. Considering I'm just one guy sitting in front of the camera, you know, speaking up my mind, that's insane. I feel like I'm a TV studio, you know, in one person. And if you came to Inside Russia for the first time, I'd like to inform you that this is the best community on internet, and it has the best moderation team. Lorna, Mami K, Bob S, Harry Potnin, Amir Fazat, and Dirk are great people and fantastic mods. The best you can find. They have helped to build this community, to make it the way it is. So thank you, friends. And the usual suspects, fantastic to see everyone. Familiar faces. Folks, as usual, if you want me to see your message easier, read your comment easier, please put it in all caps and put Inside Russia after @ so it is highlighted in orange and I can see it much easier. Thank you. Just like Harry Potter did. Harry, hope all is well. So if you don't know, Harry is one of the best pilots there is out there. Anyway, he's one of the best pilots. So, hello everyone, hello friends. I'll jump to the highlighted message, leitmotif for me. Greetings from Maryland. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Mr. Kaliskin from the Windy City, long time no see. Great Southern Land, Paula W, Terry, Pamela, Jodes Rames, Roy Cousins, Aaron Scott, and my chat jumps. Angela. Mr. Petier, how are you? Sam the Legend K, Royal Oak, Andrew Hodson from South Africa, Keith from Hawaii. Doing well, thank you, friend. So you know that I did reach out to the person that you wrote me about. We are in communication. Let me just rearrange things here a little bit. So friends, did you like my today's message? Let me know. Yeah, I know, Sherleaf. It is migrant workers now. Yeah, there's like a real war. And it's coordinated. I don't understand who is coordinating because I don't think it's Bastrikin. I think he's just a tool, but someone more powerful. I don't think it's Putin. He's not advanced enough for things like that, but I think it's one of his gray cardinals is behind it. I don't know which one. Leitmotif. Is your AC broken? It is broken, yes. It does not chill down in this room enough. So I keep on wiping my face, yeah, especially after I drink tea. I figured summer is almost over, and then my landlord was giving me a hard time about fixing it. Said, hey, I'll toughen it out for a couple more weeks, and that's it. Benjamin Wandernod, good evening. Jumped. Elsha, good to see you. This could be the beginning of the end. I am sure this is the beginning of the end. Daniel McInnes, thank you so much. Good to see you. Fantastic to see you, friend. Thank you. Carlos Enrique Salas, thank you so much. Sending my love to Italy. Pretty upset with Italy now, but I think it'll pass, Just give me a couple of weeks. Thomas Elliott just got a warning notification. Well, that's good. Gordon B. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Gosh, I missed this message from... Bakerstock, hello. Everything good, especially now. Good. Mr. Trenchcoat guy, thank you for joining. Warsaw. So you're Polish. I'm so glad every time that a Polish, a Czech, or a Slovakian, Lithuanian, a Latvian, Estonian person comes and joins the stream. It just warms my heart. Thank you so much. Royal Oak, what do you think of Kazan as the capital of Russia? Kazan is definitely a place to watch. Okay, I personally know quite a few powerful people there. They're very upset, and they want a certain degree of freedom from Moscow, sovereignty, so to speak. And they had it until 2016, when the bank of rich people from Kazan was raided by the central bank and Moscow banks. And then they started talking about sovereignty again. Okay, so they are secretly moving lots of assets here in Uzbekistan, lots of manufacturing facilities they close in Russia, open here. They transfer money. It's not televised, it's definitely not talked about, but I know. They definitely have a plan. I'm not sure the Kazan is going to be the capital of Russia, but there's a fair amount of troubles will come out of Kazan for Russia. Terry, good to see you. Thank you so much. Oh, there you go. Benjamin Wonder Not. Thank you so much for good words from the Netherlands. Thank you. Lucky Lumi, hello. Do you think it's possible that any part of Russia could separate from Russia and create own country for own safety? Very possible. And the longer the situation is going on, it becomes more and more possible. It's like Russian leadership, Russian government is pushing Russia towards that direction. That's what I think. And to me, it's totally crazy. Deborah, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Sunny California. I'm glad to hear that. California. I went to a university in Northern California and visited Southern California quite a few times. What a place. So sad how Google has been treating you. I don't know what to tell you, Deborah. I'm shocked. This is insanity. They show my ads in my videos now, but I'm not monetized. Oh my. We can only hope that with the community support, when they finally do give back all the ad revenue, it's big bonus, you know. I'd be happy just to get it back, to be monetized again. I don't see... Well, there must be some kind of a logic behind Google's actions, but it's beyond me now. I'll keep you informed, but this is insanity, okay? You demonetized me? Okay, I understand that. But, well, at least don't show the ads in my videos. SC, that's a very good, at the same time, sad question. Do you still consider Russia your country? And when would you consider yourself not Russian anymore? That is quite a question. I am Russian. Whether I like it or not, there's nothing I can do about it. I was born and raised in Russia. My first language is Russian. I speak Russian much better than I speak English. I grew up in southern Russia. That's where my family is from, and that's my friends. A lot of friends are there. People I went to school with, I went to university with. I can't just shake it off, okay? And that is the tragedy, because I do not consider Russia my country anymore. I don't want to go back there, and I had to cut the ties. Do you know how difficult that is? And I don't want to. I don't want to cut ties. It's just, what can I do knowing that my country is doing that to Ukraine? No. I made a live stream about that, and I called it I Love Putin. Check it out. Actually, I'm gonna put a link up there to that live stream. That's pretty much the answer to your question, SC. Kmo, I want to be as optimistic as you. I don't know, it's a joke. I wasn't that optimistic in today's stream. Pamela saw on YouTube a BBC story, Steve Rosenberg, about denunciations the other day. Well, it's growing. The denunciations, they fall into the fear category, number 8. Russians are afraid, including they're afraid to be denounced. So I know, it's one of the worst that comes out of humanity, to write a letter, send it to the cops saying, oh, my neighbor is a bad guy because he listens to Ukrainian music inside his house at night when he thinks no one listens to him. And then they get that letter, they come arrest you and throw you to jail based on that denunciation for 7 years, okay? I don't know, people who denounce, how can they live with themselves after that? Very odd. Joni K sounds like all his remaining moves are Zug Zwang. Well, that's what I was saying 2 years ago, so it might last for some time. Russia is a large country with lots of reserves, okay? And even if everything goes to hell, Putin still has plenty of food, bunch of mansions with deep bunkers to hide in and things like that, you know? So now, if we look from our point of view, 2.5 years is a very long time. But if you look from the point of view of history, 100 years from now, we will be saying, oh, that was just a brief conflict and a brief history period. You know, that's it. But to us now, it's just so long. Keith, not a Prokofiev, Russia. What's Prokofiev? Robert, please check your API address. You may have a problem with API address. It's called a dirty API address. Please confirm. I've never heard that Google rejects monetization based on someone's API address. It's not about where you're broadcasting from and you log in from. It's where you pay your taxes. And I pay in the United States of America. And it shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. That's not a dirty jurisdiction. That's as clean as it gets, okay, for Google at least. So thank you. I will consider, I will check what it is. At least I will research what is dirty API address. I have quite a few computer whizzes in Tashkent Breakfast Club. So tomorrow morning I'll see someone and I will ask them. So thank you. Dragons, what do you think of the nuclear war? How much is it possible? I don't think it's possible. I think over time the chances, the possibility is growing, but I think it's still marginal. It's not very possible. Okay. I think if he wanted to do that he would have done it already. Maroquette, you seem pretty optimistic for having to be informed in details of all that. Well, you decide. You be the judge. I am pretty sure with myself, I study Russia from morning till night. I have been studying for the past 2.5 years. You ask me anything on Russia, and most likely I know a thing or two about that topic. Current Russian political landscape, key figures, the policies, the vertical of power, the history of the USSR, the history of Russia, how the USSR fell apart, why, and how Russia was born, how it developed, you name it. Okay, I think I know the reasons behind why the war started. I have tons of insight coming from Russia, so I know a thing or two. Could be, I'm probably not the biggest and best expert on Russia, but I consider myself an expert. Terry Carter, I certainly cannot confirm. Sherleaf, there were at least 4 sets of advertisement I watched yesterday on your video. I thought maybe one of the kids changed my YouTube account. But nobody was at home. Good omen. I don't know, or perhaps YouTube is just, making fun of me, mocking me. Royal Oak, every time I see your videos, I also see how similar Putin's Russia is to the current regime in Brazil. And that is weird. I don't know much about Brazil, but I trust you. So Keith's birthday today. Interesting. Ex-Flying Tiger, Shasta, Lake Shasta in the house. I recently, John and Nikki, I recently looked at the map where Lake Shasta is. Looks like a beautiful area. So, Keith, is this your birthday, right? Lorna, thank you so much. And 105, and we're going to sing. My friends, I warn you, please cover up your ears because I'm gonna do a little bit of singing. Might break your ears. So, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Keith. Happy birthday to you. Friend, I wish you many happy returns of the day. I wish you to be in good health. I wish you to be full of energy, to have many reasons to smile and be surrounded by people who you love and who love you. Happy birthday. Ariel Campbell. Hey, Konstantin, do you think Russia will ever do anything with Energia Buran or just let it rot? It has let it rot for the past 30 years. 40 years. No, won't do anything with it. Unfortunately, Russian Roscosmos space agency has been destroyed nearly completely. And I don't think that Russia will do anything significant in the space for a long time. Carlos Enrique, Konstantin, have you ever seen the interviews made by Daniil? Of course, 1420, he was a legend in Russia. People there look rather pretty confident that Russia will come out strong and winner. I'd like to hear your opinion. Well, here's my opinion. Now, first of all, Daniil did not interview people in Russia. He interviewed them in Moscow, which is a huge difference. Moscow is not part of Russia. Officially it is, it's the capital, but it's so different by so many things. Living standard, infrastructure development, technology advancements, mass transportation, cleanliness, budget size of money that Moscow has and the rest of Russia has. So people in Moscow are much better off. They have more positive outlook on life. And if you go to Moscow right now, and that's what I've been hearing, you will find clean streets. You will find restaurants full of people. You will find stores with all kinds of stuff. Even stuff that has been sanctioned, they still bring it from different countries. Moscow is living as if there's no war, nothing bad is happening. Okay, and that's where Daniil interviewed people. And the reason number two is, well, the thing number two is, imagine a stranger comes to you on the street and asks you, do you support Putin? What if you say, no, I don't, what you really think? And all of a sudden, oh, and my name is Ivan Ivanov. I'm the major of the KGB. Please come with me. So a lot of people are simply afraid. And those who do not support the war, those who think that Russia will lose and so forth, they are afraid to even speak up on camera, okay? So I think that his interviews, that he stopped doing, by the way, he moved to Georgia, the latest I know. So I think his interviews were biased, not in the way that he conducted them, but in the way that people, many people who don't support the war, they simply decline to speak with him. Great Southern Land. Do you think it will be business as usual with the West after the war? No, I do not think so. I think that some companies will return to Russia because some companies are unethical and some companies go after buck only. And quite a few will not go back. And the sanctions will not be lifted like that overnight, like many Russians think. No, it will not be business as usual. There will be some business, I'm sure of that, but it's going to be minimal. Deborah, thank you so much. You know, I'm scared about my country's future. Royal Oak, I often say at the end of my messages, folks, please do not make your own mistakes. Learn from ours. Do not let your politicians go unchecked because, you know, they will just take over everything. They usurp power and you will find yourself waking up in another Russia. So please learn from our mistakes. Don't make your own. Robert Ragnier, thank you so much. Paul Wright, with all that tragedy happening in Russia, do you think this will lead to national and individual repentance or deeper into a pit of rage, despair, and passive surrender? I don't know. Paul, this is the question, one of the biggest questions I've been asking in myself. I don't know, and I'm doing my best trying to find a solution for Russians to wake up, to see, to realize what's been done, to repent, and that's one of my missions. I have not succeeded so far, but I see that is much, much needed, because without it, Russia does not have a future of any kind. Okay, I hope that there will be repentance, individual and national or into any kind. Just start doing it. Alan Hill, howdy, from Switzerland. Terry Carter, Pulaski, Virginia. Hey, I actually know where Pulaski is. It's you know, west of the coast. I saw it on the map one day. Lucas, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Per Hagling, constant greetings from Stockholm, Sweden. Sending my love to Stockholm and to Sweden in general. Marcus is a little drunk because of after work beer. Okay, well, that's okay. Couple more minutes. Mods, I'm watching the time. Sherleaf, thank you so much. Yes, I liked talking to the Silicon Curtain host, Jonathan, and it was, you know, I liked our conversation, so it's pretty good. Martin Lange, thank you so much. Just Terry, I watched 1420. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but 1420 is not active anymore. He doesn't conduct any more interviews. Let me see. I know for sure that Daniel left Russia. Oh, no kidding. He picked up the interviewing. Incredible. So there are 3 fresh interviews. Is it in Moscow? Wow, amazing. Okay. Good. Good for him. I should watch. Good stuff. Royal Oak, thank you so much. Kaltenberg, Daniel started posting again. Came back from the early retirement. Littleton, Colorado. Howdy. Jonathan is a very serious dude. He is, but he lights up when, the camera is turned off. The last question from Compromised. Hi, Constant. Which group of people is most likely to rebel or declare independence in your eyes? I see no such group in Russia. The last question. You think that the sanctions will end if Putin's fall and the war was over? No, they will not end. They might ease up, but they will not end. What Russia's done, it's like an eligible mark, indelible mark. There you go. You can't just erase it, wipe it off, Go and speak to Ukrainians, to all those families whose loved ones were killed by Russian soldiers, missiles, mines, Go and talk to them. And see how well and lightly they will take lifting of sanctions, from Russia. So I suggest you do that. And tell us then. Friends, thank you so much. I'm taking my prayers list. Thanks for coming. Thanks for chatting. Thank you for being with me, giving me a chance. You're fantastic. You're awesome on your rock. Let's finish this live stream in prayer, please. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you for giving us this day. Thank you for everything you've given us. Thank you for the food that you placed on our tables and for the roofs you've given you've given above our heads. Thank you for our families, for the loved ones who you surrounded us with, who love us and who we love. Thank you for our children, for our parents, for our families. Dear Lord, please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful. Give us wisdom to raise our children in a way that when they grow up, they will never fight in any war, will only love each other, and make this world a better place. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, please help Ukraine. Country has suffered so much. Please send the country and its people peace. Help those who have been affected. Send your angels to help them. Answer the prayers and make their wishes come true. Dear Lord, please help to stop the bloodshed. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those responsible. Make them stop. Please help my country. Assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords into the one big, strong, angelic army led by Saint Michael, and send that army down to the earth to get rid of the demons who have hijacked my country, who we know by their faces and by their names. Send your angels to help good Russians to run the country, make it peaceful, loving, and respecting. Dear Lord, please help all those who are traveling. Send them safe travels. Help those who are in danger of any kind in high waters. Please send them safety. Help those who are seeking for any kind of asylum. Please help those who are helping Ukrainians. Please help Ukrainians who are under attack currently from Russians, missiles, Russian troops. Please send them safety. Help all single mothers and fathers raising their children, trying to make ends meet. Send them help. And please help all who are sick, cold, addicted, hungry, homeless, jobless, depressed, crying, feeling alone, not feeling well about their lives, losing their faith, in any kind of trouble. Please help everyone in need. Reach out and touch the hearts, fill the hearts with love, and let them know that they are not alone. You are next to them, watching every step they make and every move they make. That you love them and you have not given them up, and you are with them, warming them with your love. Please help everyone in need. Thank you so much for this community. Thanks for this possibility of coming together and praying. Thank you for 3,200 people praying along with me or simply watching us pray. Thank you for everything. Please help everyone who is praying and watching us pray, answer their prayers, and make their wishes come true. Dear Lord, I would like to ask you for a few people who need your help. They are Millie, Jodes Rames and his wife, Ann Larson and her daughter Hannah, Jeffrey S. and his family members, Alex from Albuquerque, Mark Rutan, Tom W., J.R. McKim, Frank in Texas, Gabing with Gary, Lisa Kumrian, Harry Potnin, Terry Carter, John McLean, Linda Trombley, Paula W., Dennis, Jason Carney, Susie Mailer, Tim Mayers, Dory, Rhonda McGillis, John, Taylor, Wayne, Dave, Don, Darla, George Ruberty, Pamela J., Meta Spencer, David Porter, and everyone who is in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, Leif, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, and Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron Klotzer, Liz Dumbrell, Koshkin Dom, Sandra, Mike and Mike, Petra Olson, Joseph Abide, Melissa, and little girl Sarah, who needs recovery, who needs your help, and her family. Send her recovery, and please send her family strength. And please have all the Ukrainian children who have been taken away from their families and misplaced, please have them come back home and live with their parents. Thank you so much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, friends. You are awesome and you rock. As usual, before I sign off, well, I'll remind you that tomorrow is going to be an awesome stream full of the news that are beyond crazy. Come back, watch. You're not going to believe what you're going to hear tomorrow. And today, I'm leaving, finishing the stream, and before I sign off, please say it along with me as loud as you can. Carthago delenda est.